they're gonna take him directly to the body. Like, they are literally just going to, like, directly take this man straight to where the body is. They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did. But they always stood at my sides, as if to prevent me from escaping. This was strange. Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Yes, thinking back, it'd been strange ever since killing Sadako's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. That insane night was still continuing. Yes, it still hadn't ended. What? What's wrong, Kei-chan? Why did you suddenly stop? Sorry, it's nothing. When I stopped, it was distant, but I definitely heard them. An extra set of footsteps. That was proof. Proof that insane night hadn't ended. Mion left where she usually did, and we finally came to my house.
Okay, Keiichi-kun. Wait here for me. Rena will come pick you up soon.
What was it? Was she inviting me along on one of her oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam site, right? But why now? Mion coming along was strange, too. Mion may have accepted Rena's little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage, so she'd never come with her before. And the location specifically being the dam site was a little creepy. Are they gonna Oyashiro-sama kill him? The dam site construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life.
Construction site.
Fuck. The damn construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. Let me manga gamer, goddammit. It was so remote that no one had ever went there unless they thought to in particular. Nobody lived there, and there were no lights, so at night it got dark very quickly. I was being forcefully invited there. There was no reason I had to fear Rena and Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea. But that insane night was continuing. Haven't the sirens of instinct been wailing in my mind for a while now?
What the fuck? Why is sound coming out?
Is that demo stream?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the
Warning
Dragon's
me.
Dwarf mouth.
Warning me that Rena and Mion were strange. That I needed to be cautious. The warning sirens were so freaking loud it felt like my head would split in two. Rena. I actually have something to do.
Something to do? Like what?
Like what? It's just, I have something to do, okay?
If you had something to do, why didn't you say it while Mi-chan was here? I already told her to meet us at the dam site before we split up.
Rena was smiling, but her words made her discomfort clear. Sorry, I just kinda missed the opportunity to say so.
Really?
You're lying, aren't you? You just made that up now, you liar. That's what Rena's eyes said to me. My head hurts. I might have a cold, so I wanted to go get it checked out and get some medicine.
Really?
That wasn't really a lie. My head did hurt a little bit, so I wasn't lying. Rena, she couldn't figure out if my head hurt or not just by looking at it.
Then I guess... Excuse me. Then I guess that's that.
You know, Keiichi is the character in horror movies that only makes bad decisions.
Yes.
And like he'll like the demon thing that's trying to kill him will be like, if you accept my bargain, I won't kill you, but if you turn me down, I'll kill you. And Keiichi looks at him and goes, I have to go pee. And then goes to the bathroom and tries to like crawl out of the window. And then they like cut him in half as he's trying to do it because he tried to decline the bargain. That's Keiichi. I don't know why he does it. You just gotta roll with some of this shit for a bit, man. After staring me in the eyes for a few moments, she fired a sharp, needle-like stare at me. The tension in my body loosened, and I felt like my knees might buckle.
If you're going to the clinic, you should go soon. Sometimes they close early.
Thanks. I'll do that.
Make sure you go, okay? To the hospital.
I will.
Go. For real.
I will. It seemed like Rena had realized that I was going to refuse her invitation for a while now. With how serious she looked, she might actually call the clinic later to make sure I went. I couldn't say anything careless. Lying about getting checked out was just an excuse to decline her request in the first place. It didn't matter whether I actually went. Yeah, I'll go. If you want, I can bring you the bill tomorrow.
Oh, that would be good. Be sure to bring it, okay? Rena will look at it then.
Another tingle started crawling up my back. There was no ignoring it. Rena and Mion must have been monitoring my movements. That wasn't normal. Far from it. All of it was insane. I did what I did because I wanted my peaceful life back. But what on earth was all of this? It was far from peaceful. Something had gone mad, leaving the world out of order. With the other Keiichi Maebara. With those creepy footsteps I've been hearing. With Rena and Mion acting so curious. And above all, with him being alive. Where was I? Hinamizawa Village. Shishibone. I knew that much. Was this really the Hinamizawa I knew? Hey, Keiichi Maebara, where is this? I asked, whipping around before the front door, to face the one who had been following in my wake all day. Nobody would have been there, of course. What?
It's Keiichi.
He's still talking to himself, yeah. Keiichi Maebara, huh. That's what I just called him. Called the one who had been tailing behind me this whole time. That shadowy presence always clinging to me, like it was constantly watching for the opportunity to change places. Footsteps always following me was another impossibility. It couldn't have been a ghost, so it was just impossible. So the strangeness must have been my ears, my head, or Hinamizawa. Everything I could see was the exact same. No, everything I could see was the same, exact Hinamizawa I knew so well, and that gave me the creeps. They're gonna be closed. Eventually, I decided to actually go to the clinic. I really didn't want to go outside, but a stronger feeling than that desire was the fear Rena might actually be keeping an eye on me to see if I went to the hospital. But before I went to the clinic, there was something I wanted to make sure of. It was at school. I pretended I'd forgotten something, and was going back to the classroom to pick it up. Is he gonna check the bat spot? As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed by paranoia. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much, having to be careful to fake it. After carefully verifying once more that nobody was watching, I went over to the locker. Yes, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat I found in this locker, Satoshi's bat. And then I had thrown the bat into the swamp, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. If he opens the locker and the bat's inside, I'm gonna scream. But what if the bat was still in here? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea, but if it was true, it would explain a lot. Schrodinger's bat? If the bat was in here, yesterday's events would have all been a delusion. No, an illusion. If I hadn't killed anyone, and I'd gone to the festival, I had a great time ramping about with everyone. It would prove that Keiichi Maebara was really me. Proof that I was only under some strange assumption that I had killed Sadako's uncle. Proof that it had all been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing happened yesterday. I had just gone mad, unable to separate my shocking, uncle-killing dream from reality. That would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? Persona! If it was here, nothing will have changed. If it was here, it would just mean I'd gone crazy. Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening it slowly, so I threw it open with a bang. I don't want to keep reading. I'm so nervous if the bat's actually there or not. And just like the first time, the choking scent of smell and sweat, like a stale towel, came flowing out. There was a baseball uniform and some miscellaneous other things like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch. And as for the bat, it wasn't here. Thank God. It was how I left it when I took the bat out. Thank fucking God, dude. There was no doubt yesterday really happened. I gotta wait for Persona Sun Confident. No good Tora to go away. Now that I knew I wasn't a lunatic, I felt relieved. You know when you kill people's uncles, you're not a lunatic, you're not a crazy person. Very sane indeed, actually. But at the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Hinamizawa was. And that was evidence of a reality I found just as difficult to accept. There was a noise, somehow, creeping into everything I saw. And the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So, what did I know about last night now? Now that I'd made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? For real, to the hospital? For real? He's gonna get hit by the car. It was my first time going to the hospital, but from what I'd heard, it wasn't far from the school. My mom had told me where it was. A big, easy-to-see road went straight there. I went past the shopping street, made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign with Irie Clinic written on it. Oh, Jesus. There was one other person, and whoops. It's left arrow, yeah. There was one other person, an older man there, in the air-conditioned waiting room. I went up to the counter and told them it was my first time here. The man behind the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. Clinic hours would be ending soon. And I sat in this unfamiliar waiting room, isolated from everyone, and let myself feel the cool air. I actually felt relieved. What should I tell the doctor when he comes? I could tell him I had a cold, but I was the very picture of health. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted someone to confirm for me whether I was really sane or not.
Keiichi Maebara-san, please come into the examination room.
I'm so excited we get to see little German boy.
Little German boy?
The voice from the other side of the examination curtain. I thought I'd heard it somewhere before. He went into
it was just Irie.
he went to Irie Clinic not expecting to see Irie.
Hello. This is the first time we've seen each other here.
He's dripped out. Coach! Coach, you were a doctor? Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he was actually a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Irie-sensei, didn't she?
Well, yes. I'm more or less a doctor here. Doctors have it very good, you know. You get to see and touch all the young, silky, smooth skin, Star. I could inject them with a weird chemical that makes them my slaves, and have them as my personal maids, Star.
Thank you very much. Just seeing that made my cold go away. I'll be leaving now. Polite bow.
Says it out loud.
Whoa, wait. Maebara-san. A joke. It was a joke. Come sit down and let me look at you. I need to use my stethoscope, so show me your silky smooth chest, Maebara-san.
This man is a pedophile. For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was here, doing the same thing he always did. I was very happy for that.
You don't seem to have a cold. Actually, those scrapes and cuts all over you seem to be the painful thing. Don't tell me you were playing in the bushes with short sleeves and shorts. I mean, I can't say for sure you haven't been infected with tinnitus.
He's just covered in like cuts and scrapes and no one talked about it. No one ever mentioned the fact that he's just covered in like cuts and scrapes and bruises and everyone was just like, yep, that's cool, Keiichi. Looking cool, Joker.
Sasuga, Joker.
As I was chasing that man last night, I'd kept being scraped by bits of trees. I didn't realize I had so many cuts.
You went a little crazy at the festival yesterday. And was that why you're young?
See? Even Irie is covering for him.
Covering for him.
And once again, I apparently went to the festival. Coach, did you go too? To the festival?
Yeah.
What is the German for
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I did. I may be a doctor, but I'm also on the Tatarigoroshi Executive Committee.
Did you see me there? This coach was the same coach that I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him more than my weird friends, so I asked.
Well, actually, I was thinking in the main tent with the chairman and others the whole time. I didn't go out to see the festival at all. I don't think I saw you.
Oh,
That was a strange question. Did you have too much to drink and forget what happened last night? And underage too, you by a child.
love idiot. Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in an unnatural way like Mion and Rena did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world. Well, this all might seem a little weird to you, but I want you to hear me out without laughing. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, go ahead. I greatly welcome any sharp, bashful words you might have as. Yeah, go ahead. I greatly welcome any shy, bashful words you might have as you come into your secondary sex characteristics, Star.
Thank you, Coach. Could it be possible that I have an identical twin? Coach hadn't expected that question at all and couldn't say anything for a moment. But then he smiled calmly and quietly answered.
This is just superstition, but I've heard before that everyone has two other people in the world who look just like them.
What did I talk about earlier? What did I talk about earlier? What did I talk about earlier?
I was not ready for
This is only further proving my 3 Keiichi theory. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. You laughed at me. You laughed, and here Coach is literally proving my 3 Keiichi theory. It's true. It's what happened.
So was. I'd certainly like to meet him, though.
It's exactly what happened.
Also, there are plenty of fairy tales where a person's double appears. The German ones about doppelgangers are probably the most famous.
Hakton. Doppelgangers.
Ah, they look exactly like another person. Apparently they have a misfortune, and if you meet one, you're sure to die soon. I think that's how it went.
Sounds like he's dying soon. When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. The story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me, though. He was just offering a casual anecdote, but that made it feel all the more real.
I was wondering why the sound effects were so quiet, and I remembered the rain.
Yeah, because the rain was like, like
Extremely
for
loud.
hours. Have you ever heard of one of those things showing up in Hinamizawa?
What? Well, I can't say that I have.
Coach must have thought he was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter. I'm sorry, well, I was sort of being serious.
No, I apologize for laughing.
And then you hit the keypad,
Keypad?
and then you hit 9,
And I hit 9.
and then you hit the keypad button again.
And I hit the keypad button again. Think Dylan heard all that?
Yeah, he did. And we'll finish the next couple of pages. He's got a little time.
Was there something you were worried about?
I was worried if I should tell him. Then, after resolving myself one final time, I spoke slowly.
How do you keep reversing words like that?
Because I have dyslexia.
You do not have dyslexia.
I literally do. That's not a bit. I am not self-diagnosing. I literally was diagnosed by a doctor. I tell people this, and they don't believe me.
Oh, way worse than I expected it to. Holy shit. Ow. God damn.
Do you not believe me?
I didn't know that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. No, when I was a kid, I went to physical, speech, and, brain therapy for a while. Because I was born with torticollis, so my center of gravity and my neck was fucked. So I had to fix that. And I couldn't talk. And that was fucked, and I had to fix that. And I can't read. Because I have minor dyslexia. So that's when you hear me, either look at words and then look at you for help, or, switch words a lot. That's why. So I specifically would go out of my way as a kid to read as much as I possibly could to get used to it. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of been used to it. That's why I'm really bad at Spanish.
Okay.
It's because Spanish is horribly, awfully painful to fucking read, and it makes it 10 times worse than English does. That's why I'm really good at Japanese, because Japanese is just symbols. I didn't go to the festival yesterday.
I mean, letters are just symbols, but okay.
Nah, it's different.
Is that right? Well, there will be one next year, and then you can...
That's not what I meant. I didn't go to the festival, but according to everyone else, I was there. Could that even be possible? After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully.
Let me make sure I have this straight. Mayabaya-kun, you went to the Tatarigoroshi festival, but don't remember it. Am I right?
I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night, Keiichi Mayabara was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. But that was absolutely impossible. That vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. And Iria is trying to cover for him. All these scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat wasn't in the locker.
Well, he never saw him there. He just heard that he was there.
Yeah. It's my least favorite part about this track. No, that's not it, Coach. I really didn't go to the festival.
Please don't take offense, Mayabara-san. Have you ever had an experience where you were suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and you couldn't remember why? Why?
I heard the door. Hold on, let me finish this page. No, and I didn't lose my memories or anything. Because while the festival was going on, I was definitely doing something else. It wasn't like I was asleep and unconscious or anything. There we go.
You're certain you are doing nothing else? You are certain you were doing something else? I know I'm being awfully rude.
Close the door, it picks up on the mic.
It does.
I hate when you tuck your body pillow into bed.
It's not tucked
It
in!
looks like there's a fucking body under there.
I'm sorry that, I roll over when I sleep.
Why? Why would you do that?
Why do you got tissues next to your bed?
Can I not have fucking tissues
Okay,
next to my
this
bed?
is
I'm literally
fucking
congested!
Oh, I'm congested. Your dick's congested is what I'm hearing.
Can you not fucking hear me? Have you not seen me the last 2 weeks?
Can you sleep? Shut up. Why has he got thumb body?
Oh my god.
Looks like he's got tits.
Cause you got fat tits.
She's been here for how long?
5 minutes.
If that?
I know I'm being awfully rude, but are you sure you're not mistaken?
I know I'm not. My memories are clear as day, and they were real.
During the festival, you weren't at the shrine, and you were doing something somewhere else. Can you definitely prove that?
That's right. Thinking it through brought me to this. There was only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday, and that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. The coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guessed they would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo sputtering nonsense.
Would you like to lay down? Maybe you should Maybe you should relax and take it easy for a bit.
Sorry, I didn't really come here to lay down.
You seem to be a little worked up. Why don't I get you a sedative that'll let you sleep for a bit? That way...
He's going to kill Keiichi. I'm not being strange. Coach seemed to realize he was treating me like a deviant, and he raised his voice.
I apologize if I've offended you, so please calm down.
I definitely didn't go to the festival. That's the truth.
I understand, so please calm down and take a deep breath.
No, you don't understand at all. He's going sicko mode. Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction.
I do understand, my brother-son. You didn't go to the festival yesterday. Is that right? I believe you.
Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German. Based, so that his patient wouldn't know what it said. But I could make a good guess as to what he wrote.
He's gonna do it.
You won't believe me until I tell you everything I was doing at the time, will you?
No, I believe you, so please sit down.
Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood in my face all drained out, and I quieted down. What? Me going... After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now. It would have been impossible for me to be at the festival, because at the time, I was... Should I tell him or not? I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them, the final fatal words.
Jesus Christ. He said it.
I hate Keiichi.
Wait, you told him?
Yeah.
Sorry, how much have I missed?
You missed
Like, I know
about a little over
So,
2 hours.
Keiichi killed his Sadako's uncle.
Yeah.
He went to school. The
Naturally.
footsteps are still following him.
What footsteps?
That's right. So he killed Sadako's uncle,
Yes.
ran into Takano,
Which one was Takano?
the weird creepy girl that's Tomatake's side piece. His
Yeah,
squeeze,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Takano killed Tomatake, and so they had like a weird murderer standoff, and then we're both like, neither of us saw each other. And then he went home.
Wait, did my barber see
No,
Tomatake's body?
No, he
He
just
saw
saw
his
his bike in the backseat, and Takano was like, "The trunk's full. Your bike can't go in there."
and then also had like very murderous intent behind her eyes.
Okay.
So when he got home, he realized there was a third footstep following him. It's not a set of footsteps. It's just one footstep. So he'll 1, 2, and then there will just be a
third.
singular third.
Okay.
So this footstep is still following him.
Okay.
So he went to school, thought everything was cool. When he got there, everyone was like, yeah, you were at the Watanagashi festival with us last night. We had a real fucking baller of a time. We had a great time. It was great. We had a wonderful time. You were there. You won me a prize.
Were they covering for him?
Yes,
Okay.
everyone is trying to cover for him. But
Wait,
Keiichi was
how did
like,
wait, do they know what he did?
Most likely, yeah, probably.
They
Very
can
obvious.
probably
Who
predict what he
knows?
did.
Sadako?
Everybody.
Everyone.
Oh.
Probably not Sadako because
Probably not
he
Sadako,
goes up to Sadako saying, "When did you see me?" It's like, and she was like, "I wasn't there." And then Mion says she left on the way to the festival to go back home.
But Sadako says her uncle's still alive and that he's there. Even though everyone else is like, Keiichi, you were at the festival last night. Please, for the love of God, you were at the festival. You were there the whole time. You just
How
drank
did
too
they
much,
all
please.
know how did they know?
Because
Because he went to Mion's house and said, "Can you please kill Tepe for us? For me?"
he went to Mion's house and was like, can you kill Sadako's uncle? And Mion was like, Keiichi, you know I can't do that.
And then he called Mion's house and said, "Can you take
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Sadako to the festival for me? Because I
So-
gotta do something."
Okay.
Rena
yeah.
and Mion were gonna take him to the dam for reasons.
They were just,
So they're gonna kill him.
Probably, yeah. And then Keiichi was like, I'm not going.
they're probably gonna take him to the dam to tell him to shut the fuck up. We're trying to cover for you, dumbass.
Or kill him.
Or kill him.
Or
Was that
sex him.
was that before or after the death?
This
of
is
Sadako's
after.
uncle?
After.
Okay.
This is all now.
Okay.
This was all this session. As in everything I'm saying now is this
Oh, okay,
session.
okay.
Yeah. So they wanted to take him to the dam, but Keiichi was like, I
have a
have a headache.
I'm gonna do the doctor now.
So,
Professor.
yeah,
Be
now
easy
he's
out.
now he's at the doctor's office, and the doctor was trying to cover for him, and now he's
Well, the
just-
doctor didn't see him. He just heard that he was there. So he was like, "You had fun at the festival, right, Keiichi?"
Yeah, and so now he's telling the doctor that he killed Sadako's uncle.
Why would he do this?
I know.
Why would he tell him?
Thank you. Because
He's gonna be like, oh, I know. We all know.
because I was killing Sadako's uncle at the time. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us sharpen.
Yeah, this idiot is doctor's office.
True. Nobody moved. What's Dylan saying? Hold on.
He said
He's 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while.
You killed Satoko-chan's uncle?
Yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Maebara. Don't hesitate. Admit it, with all your strength. Yes, last night I did it. I killed him. I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank.
Why would you? No, that was a foolish question.
I believed it was the most direct method of saving Sadako, so I carried it out. I don't have any regrets.
I see.
Based, Coach? Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit. So I couldn't have been at the festival. I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that, I dug holes, made phone calls, I had my hands full. And then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening but was suspended due to the rain. There were no gaps in my memories. From the late afternoon until it started to rain. There was no time for me to have possibly gone to the festival. Oh, he thought that instead of them trying to cover for him, another Keiichi was actually at the festival.
So Conor has made the 3 Keiichi theory.
Yeah, I have the 3 Keiichi theory, that all 3 timelines so far are crossing over each other, and Keiichi was at the festival, went away with Shion, and killed Sadaka's uncle. And that, like, Rena and Mion killed the doppelgangers in this universe.
What was Shion to the dam?
To Shion, well, there's Mion
There's a
and
ritual
Shion.
implement thing that
Yeah.
she sneaks into on the Tanagashi night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they kill her for it.
Wait, did she die?
Not in this game,
Yeah,
no.
no, with Tanagashi, yeah.
And those wounds... Oh, this is EDA.
And those wounds, are they from that?
Yes. There's a road through the forest near Sadako's house. I attacked him there. He ran, but I chased him and finally killed him near the road that leads to town.
Is that true?
You wanna go look? Killing her uncle, it wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell that Coach didn't believe me, so I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited. It's true. I killed him with Satoshi's bat. I threw it and the uncle's motorbike into the swamp. I dug a hole, killed him, and buried him. I did it all by myself.
Satoko-chan's Uncle drove past you on a motorbike, did he?
He killed Satoshi.
Then you predicted he'd do just that? And just waited?
I assumed he wouldn't be leaving his house that day. So I lied to him over the phone to get him out.
You called him. But your house is so far away from your Satoko-chan's. I wouldn't think you'd be able to make it there so soon after calling him.
I used a phone closer to where I was going to attack him, the one at school.
But Mayabara-san, it was Sunday. Wouldn't the school be all locked? Wouldn't the school have been locked up?
A forest ranger happened to go inside for a bit. I slipped in when I had the chance. After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account.
I'll believe... Excuse me.
He actually did it.
I'll believe you. Jesus.
Did you get it?
More like Uber Feets.
Because we didn't lock it.
You probably didn't lock the door.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't lock the door yet.
I dabbed your chair.
Hey, Dylan.
Dylan.
Peace
up.
A-Town down. Momo Cons in town. Thank you, Dylan.
We're at the scene.
Alright, go ahead. Tyler?
What you did yesterday doesn't seem like a dream.
I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain.
We're trying to finish it because we're so close to the end. It's gone for 2.5 hours.
Oh my fuck.
I could, of course. It was only yesterday. Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences or expedient coincidences or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or a delusion, and finally seemed to want to believe me. I'm literally gonna come over there and punt you in the fucking vagina. Close the door.
I didn't do anything.
You did everything.
I literally went to go drink my coffee. Stop hitting!
Hit her.
Twist his
Hit her,
dick.
hit
Twist
her,
his dick.
hit her,
Twist his
hit her.
dick. Twist his dick.
So, do you still think I went to the festival and lost my memory?
Oh yeah, that shit.
The coach slowly shook his head. But everyone in class, they said I was at the festival yesterday. Is that even possible?
So does Irie tell him?
Oh, they were probably just covering for you. No, it's not. Your classmates probably mistook you for someone who looked very similar. Then, given how group psychology works, everyone just assumed that you had been at the festival.
They couldn't have mistaken me.
He was just guessing that.
Mion and all the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi Mayabara. It was much more than just having mistaken someone else for me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones.
So you feel guilty at all?
It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. And even if I had, I would have flatly said the same thing. I don't. I did it so that I could return to the peaceful days that he'd stolen from us. So I planned to forget all about having killed him and live my life as usual. Once Sadako's regular smile returns, the one from before he showed up, everything will finally be over.
Any chance that someone witnessed the crime?
I don't think so. If someone had seen me, I would have been arrested already.
I am a doctor. My job is to save lives. So I cannot make any statements to the effect of condoning the taking of another's life. So instead I will say this.
The coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder.
For saving Satoko-chan, I thank you.
Absolutely based. Literally, everyone in the village wants to cover for him, but he's like, did you guys know I killed Sadako's uncle and wasn't at the fair? Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. They just had a bromance moment. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so, for a little while, the two men in the room fought back their tears. But It's strange.
What is?
I'm sure I killed him, and yet he seems to have returned home alive. Coach's expression immediately sharpened.
Depending on the situation, there may be many ways that are mere unconscious. There are many ways that mere unconsciousness can look like real death to a layperson. Do you think it's possible he was just knocked out?
And crawled his way out of the grave.
I didn't check for a pulse, but I'm pretty sure I did him in.
Can I ask you to reproduce the situation where you attacked him in, my brother, son?
I kept hitting him in the head like this until it crunched.
Yeah, didn't he say there was like a very bad crunch?
Yeah.
The bat bit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The coach rolled up a Health and Fitness Week poster nearby and offered it to me to represent the bat. And the
He kills
Keiichi.
the coach.
Though I may have been lost to the emotions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung from, and the force I had applied.
Okay, completely out of context. Fucking Irie's actions. He's just like a snitch right now. Keiichi-kun, do you mind reproducing the actions in front of this high definition camera? Like, bro.
Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over, one by one. And when he tripped and fell, I bashed him in the top of the head like this. When I did, it felt different from the other strikes. I thought I'd cracked his skull. Coach was calmly analyzing this information, using the places I'd struck in the situation at hand to find out the state of the uncle's body had been in. I wasn't totally sure he was dead, so I hit him a few more times after he fell.
Did he react at all?
At first, I sort of felt his body jolting with every hit, but eventually that stopped too, and he didn't react at all. He's definitely dead, idiot. Coach folded his arms and said, a few times. And then he spoke.
He's dead. There's not much doubt about it.
He didn't just look like he was.
I can't say very much from just your story, my brother, son, but I think it's almost certain. Besides, you buried the corpse in the mud, and that took quite a bit of time, right? Let's say it took you 30 minutes. That would mean he was buried under the muddy water for those 30 minutes. If you don't breathe for that long, your brain will die no matter what.
You mean, even ignoring how hard I hit him, he would definitely have died while I was burying him.
That's right. It's impossible to stay alive buried underground for 30 minutes.
Impossible. You're right. But Sadako, she says he's alive. Coach, a doctor, just gave his stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfair that he could still be among the living.
My brother-san, this is a very horrible idea, but is it possible that the person you killed wasn't actually her uncle?
So my running theory is he killed Satoshi. And that Satoshi was on his way back and he just beat him to death on accident and thought it was Sadako's uncle.
Satoshi grew up a little bit.
Yeah, that's my running theory.
He grew a beer gut.
In a year.
He's right. That could be why it cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive. There's no way. I mean, we were both at Sadako's house when she was bringing his alcohol inside, and there was a man who stuck his face out the window to look. It was him, right? That was Sadako's uncle, right?
Yeah,
Well, that's who picked up the phone.
you're
too.
not wrong. It was that man.
Could she have more than one uncle or something?
Not one that I've heard of. It's just him.
Could you tell me what he looked like?
Well, his height first. He was about 175 centimeters, maybe a little taller.
In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I'd killed someone, Coach began to thoroughly compare.
Someone else.
Fuck.
He did kill someone.
That I'd killed someone else. Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I told him the person I killed looked like.
Keiichi got the wrong guy.
But no matter how in-depth my descriptions went, none of the characteristics differed. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But those traits were all extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance. Could you, is there anything else about him that would let us identify him for sure?
Not as you mentioned it. I've never seen it, but I believe Sakato. I believe Satoko-chan once said a long time ago that he had a tattoo of a tiger or something on his back.
Yakuza. A tattoo! That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof I killed the right one. He digs him up? At the moment, though, there was one other thing that would verify this. To go to Sadako's house and see for myself that the uncle had returned home, despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Sadako's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet, he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding, or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. I love how it's not that Sadako's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's that he's alive, and yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Neither of them consider Sadako's crazy. Kind of how Keiichi Maebara had been at the festival, despite it being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa. I wonder...
I wonder.
I think it's. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what on earth could have happened, despite you not going to the festival and killing Satoko-chan's uncle. You were at the festival, and the uncle you killed is alive.
None of this makes any sense. When I look at everything that way, it's almost like I'm just having a nightmare and there's no killer at all. But it's the truth. The sensation as I used my own hands and that bat to bash him again and again. It was no illusion or dream. Coach let out a slow sigh, then after looking at the clock, got up.
Let's go over this a little more seriously. If you excuse me, I'll go put on some tea. Clinic's about to close after all. I need to let the other employees leave.
Are we actually close?
Yes.
Okay. Coach stood up and went out into the hallway, leaving me alone. He needs to get the bill. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and then the uncle I'd killed had been alive. Had I really committed murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of the bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed the murder. Normally that would frighten a person away, but Coach didn't run. He cried with me. I was glad he did. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized I had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. As he's pissing, he hears a phantom second piss stream.
The ghost of Satoshi's cock.
Oh my god.
As soon as I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadow of the hallways nearby.
He's gonna snitch.
I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the 2 doctors.
Doctor.
Black tea? I'll make some.
Mix in amobarbital or oregano.
Is this fascism?
Yeah.
Cover the taste with milk and sugar.
Doctor.
He may grow suspicious at the sudden onset of the drowsiness. It's possible he may get agitated and become violent.
We will handle that. How many male staff are still here?
1 mountain dog, including us 3. The mountain dogs?
Mountain dogs?
Mountain dogs that dig up corpses?
Mountain dogs that dig up corpses? What? What's a mountain dog?
What is a mountain dog?
The goons!
The goons.
What? What was all this? I think I was already agitated despite what Coach said. Was it just a casual conversation? And it was only sounding unbelievable to me? Coach said he would bring some black tea and left the room. And then, in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea. Plus, they were getting extra help, in case I thought the sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Hey, wait, Keiichi Mayabara. Calm down, calm down.
Everyone is now trying to kill him.
There's no way something this stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story and even cried with me. I thought he was the one person Hinamizawa who would understand. This was...
So the signs of fabrications or falsehoods, and his memories of yesterday in particular are completely confused. He can no longer tell truth from falsehood. It's quite similar to multiple personality disorder, but as for how quickly this mental disorder emerged, it's just not normal. Maybe it's inborn, or perhaps there were signs of it before he moved here. I'd like to take a look at any records of him staying in a mental hospital before moving here. In any case, I want him to take a quiet nap.
The two doctors nodded deeply.
I should probably contact Mayabara-kun's parents too. So, I can't think of what to tell them. Please find his home phone number for me.
My eyes, still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he had actually understood and had believed what I told him. But now, from the other side of the wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. I believed you, I believed you! I had let down my guard because I thought you were the only ally I had left after that insane night.
He's gotta go find Takano.
Was that a lie? All that? About thanking me on Sadako's behalf? Were you just pretending in order to keep me placated? Brrr.
Good Keiichi, yo.
My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up.
Dr. Irie, it's terrible. They found Takano-san.
Takano-san? What? Where? Wait, where?
Well, apparently they discovered her burned corpse in the mountains in Gifu.
She's dead? Takano-san?
The men, all surprised, exchanged glances.
Wait, I thought
She did.
Dead? Takano-san. Hey, wait. So then, does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for her death, that wish was granted?
What do you mean, burned corpse? Was it an accident?
According to the Gifu police's statement, the possibility is extremely high that she was murdered.
My dad?
Dad, did you Takano-san?
As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right. Serves you right. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come driving up to me and tried to coerce me like
Oh,
that.
you just told him everything. She didn't ruin shit.
I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. My curse, my wish for her demise, was fulfilled. Serves you right. Serves you right.
Rise's son died, and Takano-san died. Rise's son died, and Takano-san died.
Who the fuck is Rise?
What on earth could be happening in Hinamizawa?
Persona 4?
Don't tell me that this was all Yashiro-sama's curse for this year.
Who the fuck is Rise?
Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Yes, maybe it wasn't Oyashiro-sama, but this was definitely a spell, a curse. I wished for her to die, so she did. If this wasn't just a coincidence and she died because I had wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. You looked down on me with all that pity in your eyes.
Takano makes one. We have room for 2 more bodies.
For now, get the black tea ready. I'll bring it inside. And I don't think he'd let anyone besides me with him alone right now. I don't think he would. Fuck me. I don't think he'd let anyone besides me be alone with him.
Coach walks in, he takes the tea, throws it in his face, and his face just like melts off because it's actually lava.
Keiichi melts. His entire body melts.
Shit. What do I do? What do I do, Keiichi Mayabara? This time I heard the voice of a nurse.
Dr. Irie? Oh, there you are. You have a phone call.
I'm a little busy at the moment, so please tell him. I'm going wrong, I think. I'm a little busy at the moment, so please tell him to call back. Who was it from?
A man Oishi from the Okinomiya Police Department.
A man Oishi, Mr. Oishi.
Ah, sheesh.
Hashish. Hashish, bad timing. All right, I'll answer it.
Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make the black tea like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call meant there would be extra time for me to act. I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink the sedative-infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyways, and they were all bigger than me. If it came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct, like it had that night. And then he started pissing. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission route between my cells enlarged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little beyond there was the bicycle I had taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound, to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I'd had on that night I chased her uncle, I unlocked the window and opened it up. A cool evening breeze wafted in. I stuck my head out and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to realize I'd run. I looked around. Then I jumped onto my bicycle and zoomed away.
He didn't get his bill.
The pedals clattered under the force. Had my bike always creaked like this? Did the pedals always whine every time I pushed down on them? Maybe it didn't help that it was in the rain for like 24 hours. My bike wasn't the only one crying, though.
So were the Higurashi.
What? My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rode the breeze and scattered behind me. Ugh, I hate this. I'm not the crazy one. Hinamizawa is. How dare you treat me like a madman? Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you. I love Keiichi. I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Rina and Mion's invitation, but the reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane, me or Hinamizawa? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling into the wind? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. The pained wailing of those lost in some sort of rhythm in another world, no longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like that. And actually, at about this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Sadako would have gotten her smile back after realizing her uncle would never come home, and she might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. So what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I'd killed was living like normal, and I had enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it start to go wrong? When? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my home. It had begun to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart that Coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly was far worse. Did I have no allies in Hinamizawa anymore? With the naive thought that I at least wanted my parents to side with me, I stepped up to the front door. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Yes. Alright. I wanted to dig up the man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there was a tiger tattoo there, I would know beyond a doubt that he was Sadako's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all recreation, all a divine punishment, then I needed to make certain whether I had been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again and got the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never, ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hands was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthless coldness about it. Yeah. It would be dark soon, so I'd need the lantern too. There would be a little bit of light from the street lights, but it would get extremely dark. I thought I'd put the lantern here, but I suddenly noticed it wasn't anywhere to be found. Then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course. On that night, I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. I'd left it at the place I buried the body. If I didn't go get it soon, it would get very dark. And then, not only would I be unable to find the spot I'd buried the corpse, but I wouldn't even be able to find the lantern itself. If that had happened, it was all over. I needed to hurry. In order to fit the shovel in the basket on the front of my bike, I'd need to twist it and disassemble it.
Oh, okay. Let's just pause here. Jesus Christ. How do they get through it so fast? Yeah, let's just pause here.
Yeah, because I was going to say, this doesn't feel like it's ending. Let me finish the page. In order to fit the shovel in the basket on the front of my bike, I'd need to twist it and disassemble it. But it looked like there was dirt in the joints, and no matter how hard I pushed, it didn't want to come apart. Welcome back to Double Stuffed Oreo Power Hour. After a strenuous effort, I realized I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it in one hand and ride my bike with the other. I wish I was Alex Jones. Ow. Don't laugh. Don't look at me.
This is gonna take 8
Sorry,
hours.
sorry.
Nah, it won't take
Sorry.
that long. You get your yayas out early and then we focus in. With the downpour soaking me through and a shovel in one hand, and riding one-handed, it was as if I'd returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It's raining outside. Yeah. It was more like that night had never ended. The pain of the raindrops striking me were no different from then. Gamer. The thing that was different was Hinamizawa. The world and nothing else. The rain clouds were already making it dark, and now was about time for the sun to set. I could tell it was only getting rapidly darker. The straight road leading to town, in the middle of it. That should be where I buried it. Yes, it was near that streetlight. On that night, too, the water from the downpour was splashing down the streetlight's overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus it brought my memories into focus. I left my bike in the brush and stepped into the forest, the ground already soaked with mud. Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was the same. Think. And then, I spotted the lantern by a fallen moss-covered tree. That's right, I had left it right here. If I left the lantern here, then I would have buried him over here. With the sensation of standing in the sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my eyes did. I plunged my shovel into the ground. It's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up, so it should have been softer. I stuck my shovel down in a few spots to test what they feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things were in relation to each other, and knew it had to be here. Under here slept that man's corpse. There would definitely be the tattoo of a tiger on his back, but if it wasn't there, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. I would be more dazed at the fact that Sadako's uncle wasn't dead than I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. If this insane world was punishment for the sins of committing murder, I wouldn't be able to accept it until I killed Sadako's uncle for good. He's gonna kill Sadako, and then, without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? That would mean I'd killed Sadako's uncle, but that would be terribly strange. If I'd killed him for sure, then who was the uncle at Sadako's house this very moment? Impossible. I didn't even know anymore what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I've used the word quite a few times today. If I had to make the words impossible fit just one thing, what would it be? That much was obvious to me. It would be impossible for this crazy world to be real. I shouted, then turned behind me. There was nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me this entire day. Even just now, an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. No one was actually there. No indications of anyone even. But they were there. Who are you? You've been following him ever since I came to this world. That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I had parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange inside-out world. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into empty space for a bit, as I bathed in the rain, my illogical anger slipped away. My tension loosened, and a tired feeling reared its head. I tasted this feeling that night too. The sudden exhaustion I felt as the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed, and I felt like everything around me had suddenly got darker. I couldn't give in to this sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up, before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then, I stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. It felt exactly the same as that night. The sense of digging a hole in the beach, with water coming into it with every wave. What day was today? Had I gone back to the night of the Watanagashi? Every strange thought that came to mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination finally faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set, too. That night, I had feared the worst and gone without using much light. My senses were so strained that I could see even in that darkness. But now, I didn't have that kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern. Putting it on the first setting would make it give off a faint light. Even with how little there was, it was enough, and people wouldn't be able to see it from far away in this rain. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, set it to the weakest light setting, and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex and strange shadowy world, created by intricacies and entanglement. A complex and strange shadowy world, created by the intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I had only turned on the light, and it was like that was all it took to make the world into something else. I let out a quick, tired breath, and wiped the liquid neither rain nor sweat from my brow. He just secretes liquid. Then I raised the shovel into the air, and slammed it into the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounding me ominously all moved at once. Inside my head, something packed in there, something coarse but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing about. The silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me, and one of them, a silhouette bigger than the others, stepped forward.
Good evening. You just love that build-up.
Wait, can I see the other render?
This is...
Ew! Ew! Wait, go back.
This is not good.
Why does he look like that?
This is not good.
It's not good for Keiichi.
Like, at all, for anyone.
Kind of bad.
He could just be digging.
Could just be digging, you know, in the middle of the night while it's raining.
You never heard of a chronic tunneler before?
Shut up. Stop talking. The moon soul is beautiful tonight.
Hello, Oishi. The coarseness in my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. The strength in my body all left through my hips. Shakira?
He pissed himself.
And I crouched down with a splash. Into the sea of mud I dug myself. Oishi.
Oh, is that really how you address your elders? You'll have a rough time of it once you become an adult.
It wasn't only Oishi, but 5 or 6 of them in a row. Men wearing raincoats. I had no inkling that this many people had gotten so close. None of this would happen if he would have just let Irie put him to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have died, but like, I think he's kind of dead regardless,
You
you know?
thought you were gonna kill him?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
Thinks everybody's gonna kill.
What did you
Keiichi.
think Irie was gonna do? Pat him on the head? Give him a little kiss goodnight?
Yeah, honestly, that's what he did.
Like, take him away somewhere?
Yeah.
Not just out
Put him in the
kill
underground bunker underneath the clinic.
Yeah, and then they like rip his skin off.
Wait, that would be lit.
That's
Put him in
what
a
that's what I
sock.
did in Watanagashi. Hold your hand up.
Are you gonna rip my skin off?
No, just hold your hand up. So in Watanagashi, they did a thing where they like, was it like 6 nails in each thing?
It was
They
one
took,
nail for
like-
every joint, so it would be
Yeah.
a nail there, nail there, and a nail there.
Why?
Yeah.
It's to torture.
And they hammer him in.
Ugh.
The Sonozakis
Peel your hand off.
would strap your hands down with bindings at each finger, like at each finger, and then nail a nail into each.
And then do what?
It's
Probably-
torture.
probably
Probably
more
just,
than
it was
that.
it was more for torture mainly, just for show,
Oh, okay.
because for rituals.
Yeah. They like cut people open and like cut their skin off and do like weird shit.
Well, they didn't cut their skin off. They just cut people open, and, like pull out all their guts.
Yeah. They
Wa-
try and kinda,
Wata
like,
in
keep 'em alive as they're
Watanagashi
doing
means
it.
cotton or guts. And,
Yeah.
and Gashi is like pulling out, basically.
You're a penis.
It's her one weakness. It was like, once I turned on the lantern, they just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows.
Please don't mind us. Just think of us as trees in a forest, perhaps.
Don't mind them.
Yes. Pay no attention to us, please. Continue digging your hole. It's very late and raining very hard, and you're working pretty fervently. We won't get in your way. Please, dig to your heart's content. Noo-foo-foo.
Here's the read. The mountain dog's already got the body.
Yeah?
And so Keiichi's just digging a hole. And there's gonna be nothing there. And
they're
Oishi's
mountain
gonna
dogs?
be like, you're schizophrenic.
You think they're the mountain dogs?
No. These guys are the cops.
Who are the mountain dogs?
The dudes that were with Irie earlier. The goons that were with the cop. Or with the doctor.
Remember he was talking
Yeah,
to...
no, I remember.
He was talking to...
I thought he was talking about somebody else.
No, the goons are the
No,
mountain
he's
dogs.
saying like Irie sent the goons to dig up the body.
Yeah. And so the goons already got the body out of there before Keiichi got there. Probably
Why do
day
they want the
prior.
body?
So that the cops don't find it. No, thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, 2 men blocked that route. They stood on either side of me and lifted me up with amazing strength, then threw me into the sea of mud. Rolled. As I soaked in the mud bath I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Oishi squatted, picked up my shovel, and threw it at my feet for me. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face.
Come, please continue. Continue.
I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouettes surrounding me, and slowly I stuck the shovel into the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. It was all over. Surrounded on all sides, and nowhere to go. But I just couldn't figure it out, no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who could have made the connection between me and this place. Shit, I knew it. She deserved to die.
Stopping so soon.
Ah! Bam. Oishi kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud.
Hurry up and dig, please. You should really consider the fact that some of us are standing out here in the rain.
Fuck you. If you don't like the rain, then just go home. Grah.
Oishi's just a playground bully.
Oishi kicked some mud into my face.
Black, please, instead of talking. Only people from the red light district can do both at once. Isn't that right, boys?
The men around him didn't react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but when Oishi glared at them, they started mumbling out pained chuckles. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night. But if I went even further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken from us. Ever since he showed up in Hinamizawa, things had been odd. Everyone stopped smiling and the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, even I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep on that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked, and I sat down on the spot. How long do you want me to dig?
Kids these days have no stamina. Hey, yo.
At Oishi's gesture, the men all pulled out their sinister-looking shovels. As I watched in daze, one of them grabbed my collar, dragged me out of the hole, and threw me to the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them, dumbfounded, Oishi sauntered over and squatted down to look at me directly.
Keiichi, my bottle-san. Is this a hobby of yours? Digging holes on rainy nights?
When I didn't respond, Oishi took one of the 10 buckets they were using to bail out muddy water, scooped up some of it, and splashed the whole thing in my face.
He's just a playground bully.
The rain's heavy today too. No matter how wet I get, I still don't understand the appeal.
Oishi smiled to himself, then scooped up another bucket full of muddy water.
I'll ask you again. Is digging holes on rainy nights your hobby?
Who the hell would have a hobby like that? Splash. Oishi hit me with another bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung.
Will there be something in that hole? I've always liked that story, you know. About the old man who could make plants bloom and the puppy digging in his yard for gold.
As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again, to splash it in my face again.
What kind of treasure is buried down there, Can't you at least give me a hint?
If you want to know, then dig on your own time, you fucking pig. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in muddy water again, anyway. Shit. If only you hadn't shown up. the world wouldn't have gone wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Sadako got abused by her uncle, I ended up killing him, and the world went crazy. He was how it all began. Because of this culprit. He splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die, you die too. If I have some strange power to kill someone by cursing them like with Takano-san, then you're dead. And it won't be Oyashiro-sama's curse. It'll be mine. I'll curse you and kill you.
What a rebellious look you're wearing.
Persona 5.
Why don't we use this opportunity to teach you a thing or two in that regard? We really do live in peace these days. When I was about your age, corporal punishment was the norm for everything.
Oishi-san. Oh, whoops.
Oishi-san.
One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Oishi over. Oishi tossed the bucket away, then turned around with an evil grin on his face.
Yes, what is it?
There's gonna be nothing there. Never mind.
Hey, please, look at this.
Acceptance, or maybe resignation. I wanted to say it to them. So you blockheads finally found it. Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your own job to figure out who he is, right? Come on, prove to me that he's really Sadako's uncle.
What on earth?
They didn't find shit. We think it's an old drain pipe. It seems to be connected to the irrigation channel over there.
Let's smash this thing. It's not being used, is it?
The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly broached another topic. Oishi-san, the ground down there is pretty hard. I don't think anything could be deeper than this.
Did we get the location wrong?
No. At first, it's definitely felt like the place that had been dug up before. But after digging so far, the ground suddenly hardened. We think we've gone down further than the hole that was originally dug.
So, what does that mean? There was a hole here and someone filled it back up? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
What? What are they talking about?
Well, I'm at a loss. Aren't you, Mayabara-san?
Oishi grabbed my collar and dragged me to the huge hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean, and I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard. There was no doubt I'd buried him right here. But I hadn't buried him this deep. I didn't dig deep enough to unearth an entire drain pipe. So, then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I'd been successful on that night was gone. Then, what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all, and just possessed by delusions that I'd killed someone? That couldn't be. It was the unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here, had he started breathing again, crawled out, and gone back to Sadako's house? Was that it? I had come here to see whether he had a tattoo or not. And yet, the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I? I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason, he lived and crawled back out. Poet, and I didn't know it. And that was impossible, too. I'm so tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Hinamizawa. Then, I'll kill you as many times as I need to. I'll keep killing you until you never show your face to Sadako again. Oishi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually, their conversation ended, and Oishi came towards me. what did he want to say? What did he want to do? I sniffed, tensing up.
Sniffed?
Sniffed?
Sniffed.
Sniff.
Thinking about Channel 8.
Sniff.
Thinking about Channel 8. I stiffed. Or I stiffened.
I sniffed.
I stiffed.
I'm worked up.
I stiffened, tensing up, and then Oishi just ignored me like I wasn't even there and passed right by me. The other men too, they ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually, there was no longer a sign that anyone was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one left there was me. Only the sounds of the pouring rain filled up the silence. There's just no body.
There's just no body.
I'm telling you, they had to have dug it up.
Body.
They dug it up for sure.
What happened?
They dug it up.
What happened?
But then why would Sadaka say that her uncle was there?
Why did Sadako say her uncle was there?
I think Sadaka's just fucking crazy.
Think she's just crazy?
Crazy?
Yeah.
Well then.
We will be
Yeah,
back.
I think Sadaka's crazy. Gorp!
After.
After the Gorp, we're gonna enter Gorp Power Hour.
No, we're not.